Hey there guys, it's Zologe here with a deck profile for the Dino Rabbit in the OCG. This is a deck that is actually kind of old, and I decided to make my own little spin on it now that first of the dragons have been released in the TCG. I decided like, hey wait, why not do an OCG deck on friggin' Dino Rabbit, because Rescue Rabbit is at 3 back there. So without further ado, let's go into the deck profile and explain to us as we go along. So first we run two Dinosaur Vanilla, two copies of each Dinosaur Vanilla here, the Cabazols and the Sabersaurus. These are our targets for our 2 Rescue Rabbits. So yeah, nothing fancy there, just use them to go into things like Zologe and Dolka, and after they've gone to the graveyard, you can use the Dragon's Mirror to get out the first of the dragons, which is a really powerful monster. Next we run triple Gores, since this deck just runs 1 back row and 3 supply unit. That's the only things that are going to stay there. You're basically going to have this guy pretty much available almost at all times. So yeah, he's a pretty good card. Sadly, they don't have Raigeki, but they still have 3 Gores. So, and Gores is a really powerful card on its own. It stops OTKs, and it's just a really awesome card in general. Next we run 2 Jirac Velos. Now this is our way to go into our Jirac Guaibot most of the time. It is also a target for one of our Jirac Guaibas should we really need, should we have just no access to any other one of them. So we basically run 5 targets for our Jirac, 4 targets for Jirac Guaiba in this deck. So it's pretty neat in that regard. Next, of course, run the 2 Rescue Rabbit. This is our main way to go into our rank 4s, being the Lagia and Dolka. So yeah, he's pretty easy to just get out and just go into a staple rank 4 play. Nothing too fancy there. Next we run a triple Mathematician. Now this card is just to get an extra draw as well as dumping something that we really don't want to draw into. He's just a nice little card to have. The cards that we really just want to dump are other copies of himself, because we don't want to draw into multiple copies of him, trust me. He's just there for that extra little draw, as well as being a target for our Crane. You can of course utilize him in other different ways as well, but that's the main way you're going to be utilizing him. Next we run the 1 copy of Kerband. Now since we run a shitload of spells, this is just going to be a nice little card to go into. I only run 1 though. The reason why I'm running 1 in to begin with is because it's a tour guide target, and running 3 tour guide is not super good, because then the last tour guide you have in your deck is basically dead. Since they don't have Scarm, we can't go for that. So, but yeah, this is pretty neat. Next we run triple tour guide. This is just for our rank 3 plays, being of course the Levier, the Mech-Whipped Engineer, our one-up Zen mains, as well as our Fortune Tune. So that's basically what he's there for, what she's there for. The same thing with Crane. It's basically just to go into a rank 3 plays, nothing too fancy there. This guy just dumps other copies of himself, so you can go into Crane a lot easier. You can alternatively also use Dandelion in this, because Dandelion plus Fortune Tune is pretty good. But yeah, next we run 1 Heavy Storm. This is a staple in OCG decks. I don't think I need to explain it. Next we run the 1 rank up Magic Astral Force. This is just to go into our Zolda once our Lagia or Dolka is out of materials, so we can get 1 additional effect off and basically get a free 2600 beat stick on board. Next we go for the triple Fossil Dig. This is just to search out our Guaibas as quickly as possible. So you basically have 5 cards to search out Guaiba, which is pretty nice. Next we go for the 1 Dark Hole. Pretty much a staple here too. You can Dark Hole and then immediately mate, and then just load up for Gores or something like that, or maybe just try to OTK your opponent, because this deck can do that if you get the right cards on board. Next, of course, we have the 1 Soul Charge. This is just to set up boards for later on in the game as well. You know, going into things like the Lagias and the Dolkas multiple times throughout the duel is always a good thing. Next we run 2 Dragon's Mirror. This is an easy way to go into our the first of the dragons, which is a ridiculously powerful monster in this deck, because it's unaffected by all other monster effects, and it cannot be destroyed by battle except for the normal monster. So your opponent's only out to this is either going to be to bring out a big vanilla beatstick, which there aren't that many of that can actually get over this guy, and or you waste some kind of generic removal on it. that could be used for something way more. Well, that could be used for something else. But it's a nice card to have. Your opponent's gonna need to waste a lot of resources to get around it. Next we run 1 Monster Reborn to bring back anything that we need to get back like now, aka things like the first of the dragons. Actually no, not first of the dragons, but say a friggin' Logia or whatever we want, and then go into like a rank up play or something like that to go into Zologe. Which could be, you know, pretty useful. Also, bringing back Guebas is really nice to have as well, so that's a thing. Next we run the triple Mystical Space Typhoon just to get rid of more back row. We have a lot of back row hate in this, like 1 heavy plus 3 Mystical Space Typhoons. I think that's enough for back row hate. And as for the, you know, then finally we have the triple supply unit for the chance that we have a Jurek Velo, and your opponent is going to be running over it. We want to get a draw off as well as a search for the Gueba. So yeah, that's a thing. And finally, we run the 1 Solemn Judgment to stop anything else that we really just want to not deal with at the time. As for the extra deck, we run 2 First of the Dragons, we run 1 Evolzar Solda, triple Logia, triple Dolka, 1 Sun Honor's Arc, 1 Castel, 1 Levier, 1 Engineer, 1 Zen Mains, and finally 1 Fortune Tune. And that rounds up the extra deck, guys. So tell me what you guys think about this, and I'm out.